The human race once ruled Tyria. Now, we struggle to hold our ground. We've been defeated, driven back, broken, but we will not surrender. So many nations have fallen. Only Kryta still stands. Our faith is strong despite the silence of the six gods. With courage, we'll make our stand in divinity's reach. The city is my home. I grew up on the streets. Although I have friends, my life has always been hard. I've faced the worst this city could throw at me, and I sent it home bleeding. I'm done living hand to mouth. There's a war on our doorstep, and I refuse to be buried by it. Today I stepped outside divinity's reach, hoping to find better luck outside the city. Problem is, when I arrived in Shaymor, the village was under attack by centaurs. Innocent villagers are in danger. Someone has to help. I can take care of myself, but that's not enough anymore. Someone has to help those who can't. This is my story.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh, and I'm here to bring you my impressions from the Guild Wars 2 beta. First off, I would like to state that, like, you know, hey, this is beta, and everything's subject to change. I guess first off, I would like to touch on the graphics, which I felt were amazing. I saw in other videos, like from earlier betas, that the particle effects were like very large and you could hardly see anything, but in this version it was very manageable and I had no problem. Like it wasn't even like a thought until I was writing down what I wanted to talk about. However, I did have some kind of bug whenever I was viewing in like windowed full screen mode. I couldn't talk in chats, or like my mouse cursor was like, it looked like an actual mouse instead of the little in-game thing. But I'm sure that's just a bug and will be fixed. That's really the only thing I could say bad about the like graphics options and all that stuff. First off, like, you know, character customization was very detailed. Like, you could just go through every little thing, and I'm sure there's like tons and tons of character customization videos if you want to check that out. I didn't do one because everyone else was. However, I guess everyone will be doing impression videos too. But, you know, hey, I just want to get my thoughts. Like, you know, I want to put them out there. And then straight out of the customization, you create your character, and I think that's where you, like, if you actually put like time and thought into it, like if you want to care, you're like, the game is conducive to that. Like, it's like you could just click OK, go and go through all the first options, just create a character, and then just do whatever. But if you're actually like, well, what do I feel like this character, or what do I want to do, then that's where it kind of like draws you in. And that's great, especially since the cinematics, like, you didn't want to skip. Take World of Warcraft, for instance. Like, if you were creating the same, like, I don't know, an undead rogue or something, or a gnome mage, you would like, okay, yeah, I don't care about the beginning thing, trolls, or, damn, I forgot what they were, and no, I know we're gone. But you get what I'm saying. And here, I didn't want to skip it at all. I wanted to hear every bit of it. I mean, it was told from your character, which was awesome, and the story itself, since you helped create it, you were more inclined to like watch everything and like love it. My personal character was a human elementalist, and I thought that the storyline was fantastic. I selected, I didn't know who my parents were, and I was like a street rat or something. And throughout the first couple of quests, you're not really, like, it's just like, hey, go do this, go do that, whatever, and, like, you're not really forced to make decisions. But later on, and I'm not going to spoil anything, or at least I'm not going to try to spoil anything, but later on in the, like, main, or I guess the main storyline of the humans, I suppose, with my specific thing that I told you about, you are actually forced to make a decision. And it's not an easy one. I can guarantee that. I actually had to sit and think on, like, what do I have to do? And the impact that it made, I actually cared about. And it's pretty hard for a game to do that. And I was pretty impressed. And there are other points that I will touch on concerning the main storyline, but that's in a different topic. Like, as far, like, I just want to, like, main storyline, big box, that's what it was. Next is the dynamic events. And they range from, like, small to large, and certain ones, I realized that you can't solo them. At least, well, not quickly. Like, there's, like, kill, whatever, rock elementals. And you can take one-on-one, like, just keep doing that. But if there's, like, a huge boss, you're gonna need some help, some friends to, defeat him. And I felt like that was pretty cool, because it's not like you're forced to fight this. It's just, like, it's happening, and let's say someone else is, or a big group is already attacking. You can just join right in. There's no invites or anything, and you're rewarded for your participation. And the rewards are also, like, you get karma, which can be used for like vendors selling, like, food and stuff. I didn't really use all that much. It gives you experience, and it also gives you a bit of money. Like, I think it mostly was copper, at least for the level range that I was in. If you've seen my beta finale event video, then you know how big, like, these parties can get. It can be, like, just huge, like, hundreds of people, and, like, bosses are down. But that whole group dynamic, it just works so well together. And, like, I was actually really excited. I mean, obviously, I was really excited. I was, like, singing and stuff in that video. And there was one part in the beta where I think I was just waiting around for the finale to begin, and I was just chilling in some Twin Spur little area, and there's, like, this wolf guy, and he's a dynamic event, and this could possibly be for, well, no, I'm pretty sure it's like, beta tried to speed things up so that everyone could experience something, or the same event that everyone else was experiencing, during the beta. But I'm sure once it launches, probably gonna, like, lengthen the times for the dynamic events to refresh themselves. But that being said, I was just sitting around there, and it happened every, like, 10 or 15 minutes. That's a pretty decent amount of time to do it once and then go elsewhere. So unless you're just sitting around doing the same old thing, you're not gonna really, like, be like, oh, well, I just killed him again. So that's what I wanted to say about that. So I guess really move around a lot, and you won't see the same stuff again. Derp. Leveling up. Throughout my experience in the beta, I felt like I was a bit under-leveled. At least going through the main story. But at the same time, it was kind of good to, like, not be able just to do only the main story. For instance, like, I would do 2 or 3 stories, or, like, little quest things back to back to back, and then when I tried to do another one, it was like, oh, you're level 9, and we suggest you be level 12 for this. So I took their advice, and I went out and I explored the world, and next thing I knew, I was, like, level 14, and I was able to do the next chunk of quests. So I really like how they set it up, because like going from zone to zone to zone, you know, you just run into events and you get a decent amount of experience for it. And if you just do those again and again and again, you're going to be a couple levels. Well, I'm talking a little generously, but it's not so much of a grind than you would expect. It comes very naturally. For when you do level up, you accrue, what were they? Like trait points. Once you hit level 11, you start to unlock traits. And that is kind of where I felt like where the, like, you know, the spec comes in mind. Like, oh, what spec are you? As the Elementalist, I had Fire, Earth, Air, Water, and Arcane. And depending on how many points I put in, like, there was rewards for 5, 10, and that was for, like, the minor tier, and then you would buy books to unlock all these tiers. So it was like 10 silver for the first one, and then exponentially more for each one. And that it goes on for 3. So there's, like, low, middle, and high tier. And for each amount, like 5 and 10 and maybe 15 perhaps, I don't know, I didn't really get that far. I only got to level 21. You're granted some kind of bonus. Like for water, whenever I was in my water stance or attunement, whatever you would like to call it, I regenerated health just naturally. The major traits, you actually got to pick from a pool. So there was, I think, 9, maybe 12 of them. Perhaps some, whatever. There was a decent amount, and you actually got to pick what you wanted to fill that slot. So it was like, to list off a few examples, auras are granted to allies. When you're in water stance, you get some kind of weird buffs. You can lose a condition, like, you know, just random stuff, and it's all catered to your playstyle. Skills. Skills you can unlock via skill points, and those are scattered throughout the world, and they're clearly marked on the map, and you have to complete some kind of challenge, whether it be like fighting them or helping them out somehow. Once you complete that activity or that mission, you're given a skill point, and it takes a certain amount to unlock the certain skills, which are 7, 8, 9 on your bar. And they can range from 1 to, I think, 7 or 9 points. Gear-wise, I never really felt like I was lacking. I just, you know, strolled up, found some new weapon. Like, I went from a scepter and focus to a staff. And, like, you know, you got an upgrade here or there, but it's not really big, and I'm not even sure how much of a difference the gear was. Guilds. The whole guild system, I felt, was... Well, I mean, I only just joined a random guild, and I got to look through the whole thing. Like the interface, the window. And the way guilds seem to be set up is it's kind of like a community. Like, you can do stuff, and then you get influence points, and then I guess the guild master, guild leader, or maybe even the officers, depending on permission. I don't know. I didn't lead a guild. I was promoted to officer, which was kind of cool, and I got to see what you could spend stuff on. Although I'm sure everyone can. From what I remember, there was a few tabs. There was economy, there was architecture, there was politics, there were a few others. And each of them had some kind of, like, a full page or so of buffs. And some would be temporary, like for the next 12 or 24 hours, your guild is, like, you know, this much better at experience, or is not better at experience, that's dumb. You get more experience, like 5% or whatever. There's a guild bank, and you can unlock like a huge 100-slot chest, or an even bigger one after you unlock that. I'm not really sure how fast you accrue points, because I only looked at it once, and I wasn't, like, you know, actively monitoring it, so I'm assuming it's dependent on how many dynamic events you participate in. Like, there's some kind of weird maybe. As far as a class race combination goes, I personally didn't see a difference. Like a Char Elementalist, pretty much the same as a human Elementalist. It's not gonna like, there's no specific racial ability for that class. Mind you, I only played one thing, so I could definitely be wrong at that. But I think they're just like, well, if you wanted to be like, you know, any sort of profession, which is their class. Sorry, yeah, oh wow, I forgot to say profession race. You can pick what you want to be without really getting penalized. Transportation. Transportation I thought was, well, first let's describe what there was for transportation. As far as I know, there was the waypoints, and when you were in large cities, if you found the right person, you were given a speed buff, and you got like 15% faster, and the cities there are huge, and there's just all kinds of stuff to do. I was very focused, and I didn't really, like, you know, branch out in the cities all that much. But in Lion's Arch, which is, it seems to be this large hub, like that seemed to be like the central hub of travel. And there was also portals to the PvP, just like across this nice, wonderfully done bridge. But other than that, there were, I'm sure you've seen all the waypoints. And the way waypoints work is you just walk up to it and you unlock it, which means anywhere you are in the world, you can travel to that spot for a small fee. And it's dependent on distance from your current location. Typically in the cities, it's all 0, so you can travel from the north end to the south end of the city, or east to west, like, you know, the longest possible, and still be charged nothing, because I guess you're just in that one area, which I thought was really, really nice, especially when I was broke. ArenaNet has said no flying mounts. They could create some kind of, or they could, like, you know, create mounts or the speed buff, some kind of out of combat speed buff. Or if they don't, hey, whatever, I'll be happy. I enjoyed the game as it was. I mean, like, you know, bugs and all, which actually some were hilarious. Like, okay, I'm getting off track, but there was this one quest where, as part of the main storyline, and I'm not going to try and spoil anything, but there's this chick, or a female, and, like, you know, you talk to her stuff, and then the next time you see her, she has this, like, man voice, and I'm not sure if that's part of the story, but
we heard about the Apothecary.
Auctioning. The auctioning system is very beautifully done because there are nodes, like there are people that you can run up to and like, you know, interact and say, hi, I want to do this, whatever. Or if you hit your O key, I believe, it opens up your commerce section or your commerce pane window. And from there you can purchase gems with real money, and you can trade gems and all that stuff for gold or gold for gems. And with the gems you can buy certain items like some kind of Orb of Resurrection, which I thought was a really neat idea, because if you can use it and you'll slowly revive or resurrect yourself. Going back on topic with the auction, if you find some kind of great item, green, blue, whatever, or if it's a quest reward and you can't really use it, you can just hit O, go to the auction thing, and just look at what is being sold, and you can, like, and it has your inventory already in there, so you can just, like, scroll through all the stuff and it'll tell you, like, for some leather skin, it was like 49 people are looking for this or buying this, and it'll tell you the, like, average price that it's going for, and you can always, like, undercut the lowest seller. Or if you buy something, like if you need a leather scraps, let's just say scraps because I forgot what they were. When you buy it, there's no mailbox. It's just, well, it's just part of the interface, so you can just pick it up right there, and that's on the bottom tab. It's just pick up, and you can, like, oh, cool, like, it's you instantly get it, which is nice. And it reduces, like, running around from the auction house to the mailbox, from the auction house to the mailbox. And also, to touch on that a little bit with the economy, from what I saw, there was like a going rate, and you could see how much something was worth, and I believe there was some kind of graph. I remember a graph. I don't remember what it was for, but it kind of it was giving feedback to know how much to sell something for, instead of looking at what others were selling, because like there's always the people who are going to sell it for 1 copper or a ridiculous amount of gold. So having that set price, and I'm not sure how that algorithm works, so maybe it's like skewed from those 1 to ridiculous amounts of money sales, but I felt like it was a good guideline to, like, hey, you can sell this for this much, and you can just, like, double click and edit the amounts that you want to sell it for, or just click OK. And it was a lot more than the vendors, and I compared that. For instance, if you were to sell some kind of mace to a vendor, you would get like 66 copper, which is not all that much. But if you were to sell it on the auction house, you would get a few silver and a couple copper. So the game itself is promoting the economy, because you can sell stuff to other people versus just vendoring the items, and it's pain-free. All you have to do is double-click and send, and boom, the auction's up. You don't have to run somewhere, and it's all very convenient and useful. Crafting was something that I tried to do later on in the beta and regretted that I had vendored a lot of stuff. From what I saw of crafting, you can have 2 main professions. Gathering aside, like you can chop wood or mine some stuff, and when you do that, you actually get a very decent amount of experience. And the nodes, like a copper node, is yours. If someone else mines it, it's kind of like a very particular phasing. So if someone else mines that node that you're running up to, it's not going to go away. It'll go away for them, but until you mine it, it's still available. And there are no really, well, okay, there are really good pickaxes, but they're all expendable. When you buy a set of pickaxes, it'll come in like a stack of 50 or 100, and for every one you collect, 1 pickaxe thing is, like, it's expended, it's used. And there are better and better pickaxes, like there's, like, standard, there's pretty good, because again, I forgot the name. And then there's also like Mystic, which gives you a chance to find gems, which are used for other things, or for other crafting, and you can like socket stuff. Which a lot of weapons and maybe even armor, I can't really remember that much. Like you can socket them somehow. I didn't figure out how to do that. It's probably a profession. But going back to like the crafting window, for crafting there are 5 maximum components that you can put in. So it can range from, I guess, 2 to 5. You can make it very intricate, and I'm sure there's going to be tons of recipes posted up somewhere on a large database. But within the crafting tab, the crafting window, there is a tab that shows you what you have, and it shows how to make it. So if you have some kind of boots and you're like, well, I would really like to make another one of these, and I'm pretty sure I'm not just making things up or lying. And from that window, like, it says like, okay, you need this much of one thing and this much of another. And when you put that amount in to the table, which I was never actually successful in doing, but someone in my guild was, like, that seems to be all that, or I think that's all they did, considering they had like 229 tailoring, something ridiculously high. Meanwhile, I was at 0. And you can make like backpacks and stuff. So for backpacks, it was just like some thread and lots of cloth. And you just put those two components in, and boom, presto, you have some pretty nice bags. You're not penalized for questing in lower areas. Like, I was in the Norn starting zone as a level 21 elementalist, and I was getting, I think, like a full bar-ish sized worth of experience from doing these dynamic events. And it's all based on participation, and I guess it's like, well, if you get a gold level participation mark, you're given this much experience. So if you have a friend that is a lower level, it's not going to hurt you at all to go out and, like, you know, play with them and help them, because you're still going to get the same percentage, I should say, of experience. Granted, if you both get gold. So I thought that was a really cool thing, and yeah, so there's that. As far as money making goes, I felt like it was very slow, just doing it on my own. So what I would suggest to you guys is to spend a little real world money, just to give yourself that cushion. Because at level 11, you have to spend 10 or 11 silver, maybe it was 20, on buying this book to unlock your minor traits, or that first level of the trait system that I was talking about earlier. And I had no money. And I just had to go around doing that dynamic events and collecting everything that I possibly could and vendoring it, just to scrounge up for that. Like, it seemed so meager, but I don't know. But I suggest spending some money, purchasing gems, and then trading those for gold, because that'll give you a very nice cushion for those early on things that you need to buy, but you might not necessarily be able to afford. Granted, this could be completely wrong. Once it's released, they could change how much money you make for participating in events or dropped from mobs. But if you're in the next beta, since they're not going to charge you anyway, or they might. No, they shouldn't, but in the beta I was in, they just it was an option to get 2,000 gems completely free, just zero cost, and you can trade that in for like 1 whole gold and 20 silver, which is a very substantial amount. And they'll probably do that in the next beta. Not sure. I wish I had found that out earlier, but it was actually the last day, and it was like 20 minutes before the final, or the finale event. So 2020 hindsight there. And on that note, thank you for listening to my ramblings. I hope you found me informative and helpful. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If not, dislike. If you feel like leaving a comment, that's cool. And even subscribe to my channel if you liked it enough. I do this for no money. This is purely a hobby of mine. I might decide to monetize later on, but currently I'm just doing this because I want to. And I will see you guys next time.